let's go to new music, man. Let's go to new music.
Okay.
So you guys heard that new single by Common and Pete Rock, right? So that album is actually ramping up to come out. So how are we feeling about this? Are you excited about Common? First of all, are we excited about Common bringing another album out? And number two, are we excited about Common and Pete Rock getting in the studio together? Let's start with you, Cool. What you thinking about this one, man? This is your lane right here.
After I got done listening to this record, I said to myself, Nas and Preem better come with it. That's exactly what I thought. Like, that's just, see, this is what I mean. This is my creative thoughts. Like, this is my mind working. I'm thinking to myself, oh no, them two?
Mm-hmm.
You two? Top of your profession, correct?
Yep.
The results need to reflect. The results reflect on this record. And I think maybe probably more time and intention was put to this record because I'm not even sure if the Nas and Preem record we got is going to make the album, like AG astutely pointed out.
Yep.
But I was impressed. This isn't what I would like to call like Common's kind of like Miami Heat Shaq. He's not LA Lakers Shaq anymore. Like, that's him on B. That's him on like Water for Chocolate. That's him on Finding Forever. But no, he sounds like Miami Heat Shaq. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, no. That guy's still good for 22 and 10 and can still go get you like 30, 15 in a playoff game when it really matters. So he sounds like a top 15 MC of all time on this record because he is. His catalog, his rhymes, and his songs reflect that type of stature. And the same thing could say for Pete Rock, except for probably with Pete's case, it would probably be in top 10 in his craft and in some people's opinion, top 5. So they actually, even with those lofty expectations that come with it, they still actually really, really deliver. This is a dope ass record.
Indeed.
The beat sounds like Pete, but it kind of sounds like Preem a little bit to me.
That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Updated.
Yeah. It does.
It sounds like he's doing Preem better than Preem and updating it.
Yeah. I thought about that.
Didn't it seem a little Preemish to you?
Yeah, it did.
That was, you know what? That's the guy I forgot to mention when I was talking about all the other guys was Preem because he's kind of separated himself. You know what I mean? But he was there. Gangstar, Tribe.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like all those guys. Yeah.
Yep.
So those are my thoughts. AG, what do you think?
What do you think, AG?
For me, I like the juxtaposition of the Nas and Preem album, up against the Pete Rock and the Common album, because let's face it, that's what it's, going to be. People are going to compare these two bodies of work. I'm just happy as somebody who's 40 plus to look at these legends and, icons in the game who are all 50 plus still put out high quality material. You know what I mean? So I think both projects are going to be dope. This Pete Rock and Common single, it was fire. I mean, I loved it, when I first heard it. And to Coop's point, Common is rhyming on a high level on there. Not, like Common of old, but he's still in shape. And, like I always say, it's all about getting your reps in. So if we're comparing the projects, they're not here yet. I think Common's level of MCing kind of has to catch up with Pete's production a little bit, because Pete's been active, for a elder statesman in the production world. He's been pretty active. So as long as Common's rhymes and, flows and all that matches Pete's production, then the album will be fire. I have the inverse thoughts on the Nas and Preem record. Nas has been super active getting his reps in. He's doing flows, he's catching pockets like he hasn't before, and he sounds real comfortable on a lot of stuff. So, to Coop's point, and use his phrase, he got to update the formula a little bit to make his production catch up to where Nas is at now. So I think, it's just an interesting kind of dichotomy in a situation. But, I love to see it, man. These are all legendary MCs, legendary producers coming together to do their individual projects. My only hope and caveat that I will say, I hope that, I know Pete had an issue with Nas or whatever, but, hopefully he's put that to the side. Since then, some things I'm seeing on socials now, he looks to be showing Nas a little bit of love. But if that is put to the side and they're good, now I would love to see a Nas feature on the Common album over Pete Rock production. I think that would be dope, you know. So I'll just put that out in the atmosphere and see what comes back with it. What you got, Sean?
No, I agree, man. I agree with both of you guys. I'm excited for this. This is our lane of hip hop, right? And when I first heard about the project and then I heard the song, I said, I wonder if this has anything to do with the Nas effect. Nas mentioned that he wanted his peers to get back into the lab. He wanted those from his ilk, from his generation of hip hop, to get back in the lab and just start having fun again with rapping. And now you're starting to see certain things kind of blossom and bloom from that. I agree with both of you guys. I think that this should be a very stellar project. We know what we're going to get from Common. I like the way Coop analogized the fact that you're talking about Miami Shaq. Miami Shaq wasn't as dominant, but his presence was still there. Any given night, he can give you 35 one night. But other nights, he's going to give you consistent 22 and 10, 22 and 12, and he's still going to dominate the game in a different fashion. Based on the way I process Common's delivery, I'm thinking that I feel that we're getting a different side of Common. Because me personally, I thought that Common's highest clip was on B because he had something to prove. At that time, he just came off of, you can probably say not the best, run before B, where I think people was doubting if he had the ability to even put together a stellar project from front to back. And he paired up with Kanye at the time, and Kanye was like the hottest producer in the game. And Kanye gave him probably some of the best production that you can give someone like Common to surf on. And Common wrote every single rhythm of that album. And B, in my opinion, is maybe top 25, maybe top 15, Twist My Arm albums of all time.
I agree.
Top, no bar was wasted. And that's what we saw Common. And then we saw a little slight dip right after that. He kind of veered off a little bit.
Well, I mean, see, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when you make like a top 25 rap album all time, it's hard for there not to be a drop off.
It's very hard.
Right.
Very hard. And I think he kind of, to your point, Cool, I wonder if he would have kept that same formula with Kanye, would he been able to produce something similar to B or something not too far distant from B? But now you're going to get Pete Rock, who is really a mastermind on the production, and you're pairing him up with Common, 20 plus years later?
Well,
this might be interesting.
Okay, so quick nuance of that. The weakest part of Common's game has always actually been his hook game. And on B, what you find is that, well, Kanye does a few hooks. John Legend does a hook.
Good point.
Bilal does a hook.
Good point.
He did better on Finding Forever with that.
And there are songs, because of how Kanye likes to sample, where the sample is the hook. And so what he did, and this is what an executive producer does, and this is when I thought he really did become one of the greatest producers of all time. Well, you're supposed to also fill the holes of what he doesn't do well. And if you listen to his best stuff, sometimes where it loses steam is on his hooks. He did do better on Finding Forever, as AG pointed out, but that was after B. B is probably what enabled him to do that. He might have gotten to sit on some hooks for one, and therefore compress it into the next album, because Ye was making sure so many of the hooks were taken care of.
Right.
And he also could have got better because of the experience and the high of B. Like, Common is the type of person that I feel like every time he got a little bit more successful, he actually got a little bit better as a rapper for a stretch.
Absolutely.
Like every time he got a little bit more, he actually got a little bit better, which means he cared. He's a better rapper on One Day It All Makes Sense than he is on Resurrection. But he's a better rapper on Resurrection than he is on Can I Borrow a Dollar? But he's definitely a better rapper by the time you find him on Like Water for Chocolate.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Top tier at that point.
Top tier at that point.
Yeah.
Right, top tier at that point. So
I wonder if he gets into that, because Common has that voice that doesn't go up and down much. He doesn't have fluctuation. In B, he sounded hungry, he sounded excited, and he sounded very enthusiastic about what he was doing on B. Because you hear like a different swagger. Like Water for Chocolate, you really heard a different level of Common. you heard the lyricist
Mm-hmm.
Common.
Yep.
But on B,
Yeah.
you heard someone who was confident, who was saying, "Yo, I'm him. I'm that guy. I can spar with the best of them." So he had like a different bravado on B. And again, I don't know if that was because Kanye brought that out of him.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it, like having John Legend out there to kind of take that burden away from a Cook, or having Kanye orchestrating things. I wonder if Pete Rock would be able to help orchestrate some of those things and bring back that zeal that Kanye would typically have in an album like this to prove himself again.
Well, here's the thing.
Oh, go
I'm
ahead,
sorry,
Chris.
AG. You haven't got a chance to get in yet. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say a lot of things happen kind of by osmosis a lot of times. So, before that, Common did a lot of work with No ID, which is, one of the greatest producers ever, but quiet demeanor, how he carry himself. If you're around Kanye for a lot of time, some of that bravado is going to rub off on you a little bit. Just like we said with the Nas and Hit Boy run, having Hit Boy around for that young boy energy probably, brought out the best in Nas. So I think a lot of that came out on B was from having Kanye around. But real quick, Coop, before you give your take, I don't know if y'all seen Carmelo's podcast, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, but Common had made a statement saying that he had passed on the beat for Heard Him Say on Late Registration. And that just blew my mind because B is perfect as is. And now I'm like, I can't get over that. And I'm hearing Common over that beat in my head, and I'm like, yo, imagine if that was tacked on the beat too. I'm trying to tell you that bumps it up like another 5 ranks in greatest albums of all time.
Easy.
So I feel like B is the formula that works. So let's look at it. Common is Common in a lot of ways, not in a lot of ways. Common is a hip hop guy. Like he's a b-boy and he's a rapper. He's really has been immersed in this culture for a long time until recently. He's delved into other arenas. I'm not a big fan of him delving into those places, but that's what his aspirations are. More power to him. But as far as his rap shit is concerned, he's a rapper's rapper. Like he is somebody that's been on Hot 97 and traded bars freestyle wise with KRS-One, like, and being more than capable of doing that. So he's high level, but look at B. Well, the intro, that's him let him do his rapper shit. But then you go into the corner. Last Poets and Kanye got the hook. Go. Kanye's got the hook.
Yep.
Next record is Faithful, I think. That's a sample. Next song is Testify. That's a sample on the hook. Next song is Shy City, isn't it?
Yeah.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another sample with Kanye chanting in the background. The Food, Kanye on the hook. Think about it. We're at track 9. Common hasn't spit a hook yet.
Yeah, but it's like when you play hoop, right?
Message.
When you play hoop and you got an offensive player that sucks on the defensive end, you're gonna do whatever you can to hide those deficiencies on the defensive end. You know what I mean? So I feel like, I really didn't even do the knowledge on that till you just said it, because him and Kanye hid that so well throughout the album. But you're right. They picked that out and said, hooks might not be your strong suit, but we can mask that well and still make a classic album.
So here's the thing. Like, if you know that Stockton and Malone are about to run the pick and roll, but you can't stop it, why would you stop running that play? They literally went to the Hall of Fame running one fucking play.
One play.
Every time they went up the court for 10 straight years. Pick and roll. Now, you may not have Karl Malone or a Kanye, but you can go find you a Kevin Garnett, a Barkley, a Dirk. They'll run the pick and roll with your ass, and Amari Stoudemire when he's healthy. You get what I'm saying? But nigga, if you know the pick and roll works, we'll run the pick and roll.
Bread and butter. And if this album ends up being dope, we having another conversation, because Common got a top 10 discography of all time.
I think it's borderline top 5 to me.
So if this album is dope, that enters the chat. If this album is dope,
I mean,
it's up there. It's up there, man.
I mean, just off the top of my head, Nas, Jay, Scarface, Ghostface, KRS-One come to mind immediately. About full catalog. But after those guys,
did you put 15 in there?
Not enough.
Not over Common. Common's got too many great albums. I mean, 50 best. Get Rich or Die Trying is a top 10-ish rap album to me. Like, if it's not 10, it's like probably 1 or 2 right outside of 10, and maybe. But and that would make it slightly better than B, because I think it is slightly better than B. Like, overall, like, B's probably better as a player, beginning to end, but the records on Get Rich or Die Trying are just too much.
Yeah, Kanye and Kendrick got great discographies, but they don't have the breadth that everybody else has. And then you got Games in that conversation. You know,
Common's catalog is better than Games to me.
Really? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's top 10, but like, we might be having a top 5 conversation depending on how great this album is. So,
like, don't you think B's better than the documentary?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know, bro.
Let's ask a question.
The documentary. I love
documentaries. A classic. To me, Dr. Zavik and B's a better conversation.
That's not better than B.
But B still wins. B is competing with the Supreme Clientels, the Blueprints, like them type, records.
Well, Common wins over Game to me, because it's like, well, his like third, fourth, and fifth best albums is stuff like, I mean, I'm pretty certain we're all on the same agreement that B and Like Water for Chocolate are his 2 best albums, right?
Absolutely.
I think so. 1 and 2. B1 and Like Water for Chocolate 2.
But he's got Finding Forever. He's got One Day It'll All Make Sense.
Resurrection.
He's got Resurrection. Yeah. As far as the top 5, that's a top 5 that's pretty fucking hard to beat. Like, you literally have to be Scarface or Nas or Jay, or Ghost. And I'm not even certain if Ghost's 5th is better than Common's 5th. That's what I'm saying.
It's close.
Ghost may beat him in quality of catalog, especially if you interpret the Wu shit too. If you interpret the Wu shit, it's definitely Ghost.
It's cheat code.
Yeah, it's a cheat code. Or
it is what it is.
It
is what it is. Right? Look here, man. Life is not fair. So it's like, after those 4 guys that I named, after Nas, Jay, Scarface, and Ghost, who can really say that they have a better catalog than Common? Like, really? Like, what's your 5th best album look like?
That spot's up for grabs. If he drops a dope album like 4.5 plus, then
I think his problem. I'm sorry, AG. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I think he would enter the top 5. Objectively,
I think his biggest problem is that he doesn't have any group work to offset some of these guys. The way Face got Ghetto Boys, and the way Scarface is so revered by New Yorkers and by Southerners. He's done so many features and been on so many songs with so many different dudes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so that's where catalog-wise, guys like Scarface and Ghostface, like, have an edge up on Common, and probably will remain to have an edge up. So it's like, I don't know if he'll be able to go higher than 5 if he goes to 5, is what I'm saying.
Well, even more so than that, the duds that's in his catalog, I think people really hold those against them heavy, like the Electric Circus and the Universal Mind Control, them joints. So I think
joints are weird. Yeah,
cool. You can keep those.
Yeah, but he has enough great material to offset those, in my opinion. But I think the people that do count those against them, like, are really heavy-handed with that. Kind of like you are against Mr. Morale, Coop. But I'll just,
You want to know what?
Relapse.
Hey, you want to know what? When I'm out bopping, either hanging or shopping, people see me stop them, ask them when the album dropping. The wait is over. In formation like a soldier, like I told you, greater, stronger. Now that I'm older, I broke a code of silence with overloads of talent. My only challenge is not to explode in violence. No, stop, AG. I want you to tell me something. Now spit something from Mr. Morale off the top of your head the way I just spit something off the 18th letter from 1997, since that album is so good. Since we got to be honest about what's going on.
Exactly.
If I spit something, it might be controversial.
Since you're the honest police.
AG.
Yeah.
If you was able to do that, that album would be like that. And that's why I keep telling people that album's not like that. When an album is like that, or when an album is good, or even when a song is great on an album, you can always be able to go back to it if it's truly great, if you're actually ahead.
I really don't think it's great, but my whole argument was that we got to have just scales, not unbalanced scales. We got to weight it the same for everybody. Everybody got duds in the catalog. So
everybody has duds, but the 18th letter is not a dud because it has memorable songs that people still recite, like I just did off the top of my head.
I think most people consider it a dud. most would consider objectively. I think most people coming from him because of who he is. But my thing with the Kendrick stuff, and we'll get to this later on for sure.
Made 3 classic rap albums in a row. Like, who cares? He already made 3 classic rap albums in a row. This is what I'm talking about. So it's like, how about this? All he is on the 18th letter is like KG in Boston. It's like, no, he's not like, it's not 26 and 14 and bringing the ball up the court. It's not that anymore. Well, but it's good enough to like win Defensive Player of the Year and win a ring. The only guys that rap better than him that year is Jay.
Mm-hmm. That was 97, right?
Big had Life After Death.
Well, here's the thing.
Here's the thing. No. In 97, that's when Nas dropped The Firm. He sounds better than Nas in 97, lyrically speaking.
On the firm, yeah. But
The Firm is 97, so that's what he would have for 97.
But what Rakim was doing, then we can get off this, but like what Rakim was doing, I don't think you have to overrate 18th letter to, properly rate Mr. Morale. And I think it's coming from a lot of his fan base, and we're gonna get to this. Some of Kendrick's fan base is unsufferable, and he's a media darling. It is what it is, and his PR team is top tier, right? So I think with all the love that Kendrick gets, and he's a great artist, he's a great MC, I think sometimes you come off heavy-handed to swing the pendulum so far in the other direction just to provide balance. Because I really don't think you hate the album as much as you say you do.
Yeah. I do.
The album is fucking terrible, AG.
But you're on record saying otherwise, though.
And I'm on record going back and saying that I was totally wrong and that this album sucks.
I never wavered.
Like people act like the first part of the record counts more than the second part of the record. Does anybody want to talk about the second part of the record that plays when I was like, you want to know what? I tried to let this sit on me. I tried to let this grow on me. But the more I'm thinking about it, the only reason I'm even giving it a 3 and I'm taking it down from a 4 is because the writing is brilliant, which I always said. The writing was brilliant. It's not a fucking writing competition. The name of the podcast is Hip Hop Talks.
Well, that's why the hard part
about his mental health that I don't want to hear because the songs suck.
What was it? The hard part 5. That's why the hard part 5 was added, to have like those type of bars on the album. You know what I'm saying? But just like I said with Common got it done with Universal Mind Control. We gotta be consistent with how we hold these duds against our favorites, man.
And that's terrible too.
It is terrible.
Universal Mind Control.
Yes.
Yeah, but you ain't gonna go on a 30-minute diatribe about it. That's what I'm saying. We gotta be consistent.
It's better than Mr. Morale. At least it has Come Close and a couple of Dilla joints on there. Come Close is better than everything on Mr. Morale.
I would put Electric Circus up. Universal Mind Control. No, Electric Circus is actually.
Oh, that's Electric Circus. Come Close. Universal Mind Control.
I think Electric Circus is better than Universal Mind Control. Personally.
Me too.
Electric Circus was right before On B, right?
Correct.
Very crappy albums. They're very crappy albums. They're all crappy albums.
There's people out there that say Electric Circus is better than Nostradamus. I don't agree, but there's people out there that say that.
Yeah,
say what?
I've heard people say Electric Circus is better than Nostradamus. Dead serious. I don't agree, but I've heard people say it.
Must be West Virginia talk.
Hey, yo, Sean, I told you one more time, man. I'm gonna air you out on this show, bro. Like, yo, I'm not playing anymore, bro. I'm gonna put the shades back on and air you out real quick.
I didn't hear that here. I didn't hear that. I just didn't know if it was a city thing. I don't know.
Yo, don't make me put the shades back on, Sean.
No more juicy juice.
Yeah, no more the juicy juice in the shades, man. My bad, man. Shout out to West Virginia, man. Charleston, Beckley, and whatever else they got out there. Shout out to all of y'all.